Greetings to you all, and thank you for being a part of my YouTube channel and podcasting. And I appreciate you all here today. I'm showing you that as we celebrate International Women's Day, we are also dealing with a crisis of war and the invasion from Russia and Ukraine. And I think we have to be very cognizant of what is going on in the world today. And I previously recorded this interview prior to that, and I thought it's very important. We have to take a minute to really acknowledge what's happening in our world. As you know, September's mission was born from the horrific attacks of 9/11, as well as losing my husband Michael and all those souls on that horrific day, as we all watched globally around the world what took place here as a terrorist attack happened on American soil. And I know the pain and suffering that they are all feeling right now as they're experiencing this mass exodus from Ukraine at the hands of Vladimir Putin, who is what he's trying to do or what he's trying to accomplish is pure evil, and it's a sin. And God would not want this to be happening. He didn't want 9/11 to happen. He doesn't want this war to be happening. We have to today, as International Women's Day, honor those souls here that are suffering. The men and some women too are fighting in their country, their homestead. They are, some have to leave because they're forced to, and they have to leave their husbands, their brothers, their uncles, their fathers, their grandfathers behind to fight in this war and keep their, and I'm getting chills telling you this because I can see the power of that is upon me, because I feel the Pope behind me as I look at you, and I know that the suffering that's happening and those children who are suffering, we have to protect them. And I know that we are doing everything we can, and we can do more, I'm sure, to make sure that we don't forget what's happening here in our world, and make sure the future generations don't suffer these kind of horrific things in their lives. And it's so important that we acknowledge that today, especially honoring International Women's Day and all the things that are happening. In FDNY today have enrolled 13 more women into the force, and I think that's a big deal as well. We need to honor those women who are going on the front lines, our first responders who take the call of action and could die in doing their work. Today we also had 10 arson fires in Central Park, which is a beautiful place to go in the heart of Manhattan. I don't know what is going on today, but we really need to stop this stuff that's happening. And we have to acknowledge that we are in a crisis, and this is about love and light, and sharing that love and light, and making sure that we don't forget why we're here, and honoring the things that we're doing, and being cognizant, and stop the stuff that's happening. The hate and the war and the crimes. I mean, why are we having arson fires in Central Park? That's just not acceptable. That is our sanctuary in the heart of Manhattan. We need our green space. We need our trees and our grass, and we need those places to go for our children. What kind of a place are we creating now? And I feel, as much as I want to do, as many things I want to do, I'm disheartened by what's happening. But I think we can continue to share that love and light that we really need to do right now. And I will do that as a God person. That's who I am. And the light behind me is shining with the Pope there. And I think that's important to show that we need our faith more than ever. We need to pray for our brothers and sisters and all those who are suffering. And definitely make sure that we keep Ukraine in our prayers. Those families who are losing all their family members. It's tragic. It's like in Surfside, what happened there. And, the 1-year anniversary for that is coming up, and I'll be a part of that. I think, we have a lot of work to do here, and I think we can do it. And I look forward to interviewing more people and discussing these topics. But I also want to spread love and light. And with that, I'm going to introduce our next guest, who we previously recorded, as I stated, and Lanny Smith, which I usually call, I think he's like a cool cat, and somebody who's an activist as well. He's spiritual. He's an award-winning musician. He's Earthman, he's known as. He has beautiful music to share. He's tied into 9/11. And I think it's important, we talk about those things, and remember, here we are in this war, but we can still spread love and peace. And really, he will display that in the interview. And I think that you will all be enlightened during this difficult time, and you'll be a part of this journey with us. And I think, I hope you subscribe and continue following me and sharing my messages of love and light. And with that, I leave you on International Women's Day. Go women. I'm empowering women, and I'm so grateful to be a woman. I have two beautiful girls who I want them to aspire to be for greatness, as I always say. And I just hope that we continue this journey together, and looking forward to the next interviewee. That will be a surprise, of course. And with love and light, we share God's love and his light, and praying and continue the prayers for our fellow Ukrainians who are suffering right now. And let's continue to do that together with some kisses. It's a pleasure, always. See you soon. Bye now. So, welcome as my third podcast guest, who I actually don't know very well, which is kind of interesting for me, because my last two I've known for 20 plus years, so I could have the connection. And I want to introduce you as Lanny Smith, and I want you to tell people who you are. I think because you kind of found me, and now we found each other. So I think it's good that you actually say a little bit of who you are. I know who you are, but it's not 100%, but I know enough to know that you should be on my podcast and my YouTube channel, and I'm honored to have you here. And I want people to understand a little bit about you, and then I'll ask some questions about, things that I think are important, and go from there.
Sounds great. Thank you. Thank you, Monica. I'm so glad to be here, and with all you folks out there who are tuning in to Monica's podcast. As she said, my name's Lanny Smith, but millions of folks know me as Earthman Lanny Smith. I am an environmental activist and educator through music and the arts, and I've been doing that for about 30 years. I'm currently living in San Marcos, Texas, moved down here to work on the presidential campaign, but we got bogged down with COVID. So done a lot of work on the web. Just so that you know right up front, my website is earthman.tv, like television, earthman.tv, the activist place to be. And it's got some great music videos on it. I'm an award-winning songwriter, and I've been doing this work and working with kids and adults for a long time. So I'm really glad to be here, and with you, Monica, and all your friends and people out there.
Well, we appreciate that. Now, so why don't you tell everyone how you came to find me, because that's always a fun story. Once upon a time.
Once upon a time. Well, about a year and a half ago, with the upcoming remembrance of 9/11, I had written a song after the original 9/11, 20 years ago, called Love's Gonna Win. And I started to call or try to connect with various organizations with 9/11, and connected with you, and you shared your story with me, and I shared the song with you and others in New York in the movement, and got a tremendous reaction. And so that's how we met. And now, as we'll talk about, we're working on the Love's Gonna Win project for 2022.
Sounds good. So 20 years later, here we are. I'm learning more and more about you, and I'm excited to include you into this adventure that we're beginning together, because you're only number 3, more to follow. I'm grateful and honored when people connect with me for things that are so important to me. I'm a big God person. I believe that love is so important, especially now. We're in the midst of losing a lot of NYPD, FDNY. We have suicides, mental illness, and climate issues, and things happening all over the world that we need to be helping others with. And I think they're having troubles navigating issues, you know, as someone like me who suffered such a horrific attack and losing my soulmate Michael, I realized, even making this world-class memorial museum, that it's still important that we connect. It's not over, you know, we're still in the midst of crisis and tragedy in the world, and we need the power of music and the power of love and the power of like spreading peace and really helping others is really my goal in life. And you know, I feel like that's something I need to be doing, and I need to be aligning with people like you that are doing the same work. And it's fascinating because, you know, you were sending me things about, you know, that you met Jimmy Carter or a former president. You know, like, I'm a big fan, of course, as well. And I want you to tell that story a little bit because even though I'm going that direction, I feel like a little past history is good for present history. So I think, you know, in the midst of what we're doing in the world, I think it's fun to like tell some stories that are creative and exciting and go a part of our history. You know,
Well, we jump back to the summer of 1974 at a Young Democrats convention in Florida, and this man who was the governor of Georgia was speaking, and I didn't know who he was. And he spoke about hope and trust and love and unity and truth and all the things that are repeating itself right now in our own history. And so I decided to volunteer some time for him, and he would fly into Miami, where I was during the summer, and I pick him up in my little Datsun B210, and him and I, no Secret Service, no nothing, would drive around. I'd take him to home parties with 30 people in a backyard. And finally, after, you know, 3 or 4 times of him coming in and me doing this, I asked him, because we got to know each other pretty well. I said, how do you expect to become president of the United States with 30 people in a backyard? And what he said to me has strengthened me all these years of my work in environmental and peace education. He said, if you speak the truth and the time is right, everything is possible. A year later, I was at on election night, I was with the Carters in their suite in Atlanta. And then I was at the inauguration, and I saw them about, a year and a half ago. I stopped in Plains to say hello. And so just the truth is that we speak the truth. Love is the power. Love will be the answer in the end. And as the song said, love's going to win. Though mountains may fall, whatever those mountains are, love's going to win. So I'm glad that we got together, and I remember that. And yes, Jimmy Carter is a tremendous God person, and beyond just his Christianity, his message touches all. And we need love these days. Love between humans and our planet, and humans and each other. And then if we do that, then we'll change the climate of both, which is what we need to do. So that's where it came from.
No, I agree. I think that makes sense because I keep telling people, like, I think they sometimes think I'm cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, which is okay because I like to be cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I actually dressed that one year for Halloween. So I own that, and I believe it's important that people realize that, you know, when we talk about God and we talk about faith and we need that and love, it's all combined. All of that's combined. I think it's part of who we are and our makeup, and I think we've lost sight of that. I think somehow we have gotten confused or distracted or something happened. So I feel like the pandemic was influential in the sense of really either manifesting humanity or not. So you either did something good for yourself and you understood the positivity of like what you're doing and God is here. And yes, we lost so many lives, and you know, it's so disturbing to see how many, over 700,000, and we continue to lose. But in the end, we have to still, we need love. we're not getting enough of that. I think that's part of the problem. Like, people lost their faith, they lost hope in love, they've lost hope in humanity. And I think it's a detriment to our society right now that we're not honing in. And it's simple. If we just have faith, or have some sort of faith, even it does, we don't care which faith you have. It's all about just getting that faith, and having something to hold on to. I think that's important, and love is so important. I think we need to go back that direction. I feel like I'm not a 60s girl, but I feel like we need to go, we need to go back to that.
Love sometimes is a very tough thing to put your hand on. And what I always share with people in my concerts, and just in sharing, is that kindness is an act. Is a very people understand being kind, and if you're being kind to others, to yourself, then that will become an act of love, because you'll feel that, because within that kindness is love. And anybody can do this. You know, there are people around the world who have performed an act of love and have changed themselves and the world around them forever. And it's something any one of us can do. And in one of my songs, the choir sings, they talk about those people who performed an act of love, and they go, Gandhi, um, uh, Gandhi, Mandela, Martin Luther King, the Dalai Lama, Mother Teresa. How about you and me? You see, if they could do it, and they did it, then any one of us can do it, because we have that same spark of God, the same spark of love within each one of us. And no matter where we've been before, we can change just like that by performing a simple act of love. So I invite you to try it, to do it, to be it, and to breathe it, live it. And we can change the future, starting with ourselves.
No, I agree. And I think it's so important, because I feel like, I have two girls, and my whole little world revolves around them. They're 14 and 16, and all I think about is that they're two young adults coming into this planet, and what's going on right now is very disturbing for me. I pray to God all the time, like, how can we change this world we're in, because it's kind of disturbing, right? So, I always think, like, what can I do? What can I do? Because I just keep talking to God. I'm like, God, we have to do something, because my biggest fear in life right now, having two of them, all of our future generation, I'm worried about them, is they're navigating such difficulties, between social media, mental illness, the pandemic. The world we live in is kind of scary at the moment. And I feel like, with all happening with our NYPD, or first responders, it's the guns, the war. It seems like they have a really tough road to navigate, and we are here, right? So we need to try to help them navigate. But my biggest fear is, what if I'm not here? Like, I have to plant the seeds now, because I think they need us more than ever, because I don't even know how they're doing it. We didn't have to navigate those seeds. We didn't
Well,
have to worry about these things.
well, we need them more than ever, because they're angels, and they're awakening this to look at the suffering, to feel suffering, and move beyond that. Is in the end, it's a good thing, because we need to grow, and they're being able to communicate via the web. There are a lot of young people around the world who are so active right now where they weren't before. And so I always talk about the wisdom of the elders, which is us, the older folks,
Well, speak for yourself.
and the energy and technological um, uh, communication ability of the young. Together, if we come together and work together, um, there's nothing that can't stop us with love, because love can build anything. And that's another one of my songs, but I write a lot about love. and about the power of us to build a new world with that power. So just we have to keep walking and have faith, and that we can get there even on the days of doubt. We go ahead and feel that, work through it, cry, scream, and then get back to work again.
I
Get back to
agree.
your strength, you know. And
So now I want you to tell everyone how we can connect with this love and make it work with some.
well, the Love's Going to Win project that we're working on for 2022. If people go to earthman.tv, they can see the music video I put together last year. Our idea for this year is, because the 9/11 families, the 9/11 folks who are involved are have given such love in their pain to overcome that. We're asking, what we want to do is take this song, which is really at the moment just a verse and a chorus, and find a major recording artist who will join us and the families to give it to the nation as a message of hope and overcoming for this remembrance that's coming up, 2022. Because your strength in your suffering, your love in your hurt, can inspire the rest of us to work at overcoming as well, to come together in a greater spirit. And we need that, and we need your families to stand up and share the love with us. Um,
No, I agree. And I think also I'm, helping Surfside with their memorial process. And I'm hoping the Governor DeSantis is listening, because he may be our future president. I know he's running for next, when time
that
comes.
hasn't been decided yet, so.
Oh, well, he's putting it out there. I have faith that he's gonna do it, and I think he needs to, we need to connect, because the families of Surfside are really suffering, and I'm really helping them with their memorial. And I think it's so important that we, as the former governors in New York came together with former Governor Pataki. He was 100% on board. I became, on the committee in 2002. I'll never forget the day I was in California. I was doing a pilot, and I'm at the W up by the hotel, and Governor Pataki's calling, and I'm like, excuse me. It was so funny. I'm like, oh, right, let me put my professional voice on. Yes. It's like, oh, in 2002, I became a family member of the Lower Manhattan community development community service, and that was so important, because that's catapulted us to this where we are now with our world-class memorial museum. And the same thing needs to happen, as the governor of Miami, DeSantis, has to do that for the Surfside families who are really suffering. I deal with them on a regular basis, and my heart bleeds for them, because I know the pain and suffering. And I think that, the love is so important. That's why God, faith, your spirituality, whatever your beliefs are, we owe it to those 98 souls to make sure they have a fitting memorial. And we come together in that capacity. So
Well,
that's,
being from Miami, I
yeah.
know a lot of folks, so if I can be of service in that, I'd be more than happy to help. And we can talk about that later.
Yes, we will. But that's why I brought up, because we're talking about Miami, and I always include Surfside Memorial into my discussions, because we are still doing that diligently behind the scenes. And they're going to start going on my podcast as well. I'm going to invite the families to start speaking, because the process of healing is speaking and understanding that we understand your pain. I know the pain they're suffering. No one should have to go to work and die. No one should go to sleep and die, and nobody should go to school and die. So I get what the the pain they're going through right now, and we need to help them heal. It's going to take them longer. Obviously, it just happened in June, so they're still in the process of navigating this horrific nightmare, which I've had 20 years to navigate. But you, even though you haven't dealt with that kind of a tragedy, you understand the pain and the loss, because you understand what love is about, and you understand that faith is so important. And that's why you're here as one of my guests, because I know that what you're doing can help them as well as all of us to help the healing process and
thank you.
start that journey.
Thank you for your great work, and all the folks out there. You asked how can they contact me, or through you they can contact me, because it sounds like most of the folks know you. But
I now know you.
If you want to write me, here's my email address. Get a pen in hand or your phone. But it is earthman.tv@gmail.com. Once more, earthman.tv@gmail.com. So write me, and we're forming advisory board, and we need folks who would love to come together and work on this. And we would love to have anybody out there come share it with us, and the joy of presenting this particular act of love.
Yeah, I'm so excited that we have you here. So I really feel that people will resonate with you, and they'll see that we can all come together and heal. We are here for that healing purpose, that love purpose, the God purpose, whatever your faith is purpose. It's what we're doing is making sure that people know they have someone there for them, and that we are here. We are here, and we will help them in any way we can. I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate your saying come and talk to you, and I know you're there for them, and we will figure out a way to do something for the.
We'll get there. Can I mention one other song that because we show the clip? This is
All you, Lanny.
a song of mine that went up in the space shuttle back in 1980, end of 85 or somewhere in 1985. And then when I was in New Hampshire later that year, Krista McCullough and I, the first teacher in space, we had a nice long conversation on the phone. And I talked to her about the song that another astronaut had taken up there. And Krista, was going to be teaching from space. And the song is about looking at the Earth through the eyes of a woman astronaut as she circles the planet, describing how beautiful and peaceful the Earth is. And she calls out to the Earth and says, "Come in, planet Earth. Are you listening? The world is just an island in the sky. If we can fly among the stars, we can learn the truth within our hearts, that love's the only way we can survive." And the song's been recorded in 7 languages: Russian, Chinese, Japanese, French, German, Spanish, and English. I think there might be 1 or 2 more. Oh, Chinese and Japanese. Yeah, I think I said that. And has been seen around the world. But that message continues to live, and there's a music video I put together for it. So you could see that through earthman.tv, the website. And we're going to show a 1-minute clip of it on the podcast.
Come in, planet Earth, are you listening? The world is just an island in the sky. If we can fly among the stars, we can find the truth within our hearts. Love's the only way we can survive. If we can fly among the stars, we can find the truth within our hearts. Love's the only way we can survive. Come in, planet Earth. Are you listening?
what's interesting about that, I've always had an affiliation with space and the moon, and like there was, you know, I mean, my moon bracelet on when I was born, how the moon looked. So each of my girls, and then when he passed, I felt it. There's something with conception and death, you feel things, and you know, I'm very spiritual, so I feel things a lot, but I have that connection. And when that happened and we watched it in school, the whole tragedy of the space, that was a lot for me to take in, you know. So watching that in real time, I still feel it. And the anniversary, didn't it just pass?
Yes. And I actually went to her house and brought in the cassette. Wow. And I truly believe she
really had more devastation from that you.
I believe that she really had it with her, you know, although I'll never know, but because it told her story and she loved the whole concept, and the song's beautiful. So anyway.
Let's honor them all who have passed and who are no longer with us, and joining in loving them and honoring them and never forgetting who these pure souls were that are no longer with us. And may they all be having a great time together up there, wherever that is.
Listen to Jimi Hendrix.
Dancing in the Wind, or
John Lennon, and so many other great ones.
I feel that they're doing great works, and there will be forever our angels watching over us, and we have our jobs to do here. So I call myself a disciple. That's how I roll. I'm like, I'm a disciple. I may be a sinner, but I'm a disciple. I will do whatever God tells me to do. So that's how I'm going to keep doing it until God says it's my time. So, but it's not my time yet. I'm like, no, not yet. You know, I got hit by a bus. It's not my time.
When you become an angel, you'll be helping others too. So
but I know I'm
just
doing it right
here. You're doing what angels do here, you know? All of us angels that are here. We're all angels. We just need to rediscover ourselves and our hearts and our love, and then we'll find that specialness. And I pray we get there.
We will get there. We will. We don't pray. We just say we will get there. God will guide us. And prayer is powerful. You are correct. But I feel like we will. We have to just keep saying we will.
We will.
Make it happen. Because some people don't know how to pray, but anyone can do it, right? Some people just don't know how to do it. I just said talk to God or talk to whoever, talk to somebody. Even if it's your Buddhist, whoever it is, just talk to them and they'll help guide you, right? Meditation, right? All those things are important. So, and how do you want to close our little podcast today?
How do we want to close our podcast? Okay, well, I'm going to send a clip to you with kids. I over the years, I've done a lot of work with young people, obviously, and I've been an artist in residence with the Broward County League of the Deaf and Hard of Hearing and their children's programs. And I've done many music videos with those kids, which are incredible because they can't hear, but they work really hard and stuff. So they're going to give a message to you about how we get there. And my core message, which is you got to educate yourself first. That's just how we save the planet and everything else. Educate, because knowledge is power. Yeah. But you can educate yourself and sit on the couch and you can be the smartest person in the world and it won't matter. That's where the other part comes in. And you got to activate yourself to become part of the solution. And these kids are going to share their message with you right now.
Stop that polluting, you know what I mean. If you're polluting, you're acting quite obscene. All we gotta do, so everybody wins, is educate, then activate yourself. Activate yourself. Activate yourself. Activate yourself. Activate yourself.
All right, good job. We're setting love already. We'll just do kisses. That's how I roll. We do a bunch of kisses at the end.
All right, Monica. Good
Love
show.
wins, right?